Awesome. And thank you for that. I think that I'm just going to have you come with me whenever I go to like any presentation and just introduce me like that. I think that that can work really, really well for me going forward. What's up, everybody? My name is Dalbin Osorio. I am the program manager at the Montgomery County Collaboration Council. I am also the vice chair of the Police Advisory Commission in Montgomery County, and I am also the chair of advocacy for the Montgomery County Council of Parent-Teacher Associations. And that's a lot of jargon and a lot of things and titles that people throw at you to just pretend that you know what you're talking about, right? And so I'm incredibly grateful to come on and talk to you guys about, one, we're in the middle of this long gestating pandemic, right? And one of the things that this pandemic has done, and this is why the work that you guys are doing is so key, is that it has highlighted a lot of inequities that have existed, not just during this pandemic, but also that existed long before then, right? We're talking about inequities in education, we're talking about inequities in medical access, we're talking about inequities in how much folks can actually earn, you know, in terms of a livable wage and things like that. And those are things that existed long before this pandemic, but now we are dealing with a pandemic that has ravaged lives through and through this country and has made it so now we are all experiencing this collective trauma, right? I would love to sit here and tell you that my trauma is very different than yours, and generally it is. But in this particular moment, we are all living through a trauma that has forced us to not be able to say goodbye to our loved ones, that has forced us to experience graduations and professional milestones in ways that we wouldn't even have dreamed of doing. In fact, even look at us now. In normal times, we'd all be in one room, right? And we'd be able to interact with each other that way. But here it is, we have to do this over Zoom, right? And so I wanted to start off my opening speech with a quote about collective trauma and then connect it to how we can harness our collective power. So even in times of trauma, we try to maintain a sense of normality until we no longer can. That, my friends, is called surviving, not healing. We never become whole again. First and foremost, we are survivors. If you're here today, you are a survivor. We are also the ones that have made it through hell and are still standing. We bear a different name. We are warriors. And I want you to own that, because in the spirit of harnessing power, you can't harness that power unless you call yourself what you really are. And there are people that are going to try and tell you that, and it's time as we talk about becoming more politically involved, there are people that will tell you that your vote doesn't matter. There will people that tell you that you're about to write isn't worth publishing. There are people that will try to push you into states of inactivity. And I'm here to tell you that that couldn't be further from the truth, because every step that you can take right now, every step towards the liberation of those who are oppressed right now matters, right? Whether that is writing a postcard for a candidate that lives in Kentucky, right? Or whether that is standing on a poll line for 9 hours to be able to cast your vote. A vote, we should be very clear. This country has tried to make it as difficult as possible for people from marginalized and emerging communities to cast their vote, right? And so there's so many different ways to get involved now. And there's people who have taken it upon themselves to write blog posts. There's people that have taken it upon themselves to try and motivate youth to go out and be poll workers, to be able to go and call or text voters. There's always ways to get involved. And especially as we continue to be as traumatized as we are, it is important to channel that trauma into action. And I'm willing to bet any amount of money that there is not one person in here that can say that a presidential has always gone the way that you've wanted it to go. And that applies not just to presidential elections, that applies to school board elections, that applies to county council elections, that applies to all these down ballot races that are as not, if not more important than a presidential race every 4 years. There are people, I've had conversations with folks, right, who, for me, I support universal health care, right? I may not believe that there is one specific way to get there, but I support the end goal. And how do we all be able to work towards that common goal, even if we believe there's a different way of going about it? Because different doesn't mean wrong. Different doesn't mean that, you know what, my way is the right way and your way is the wrong way. It just means we have different ways of cooking the stew that we are all going to eat, right? We're all going to eat at the end of it, though. And so when I talk about harnessing this collective power, it's reminding each other, right, that I can sit at a table with you, right? And as long as me sitting at that table with you isn't allowing you to contribute to my oppression, we can get some stuff done. I've worked with people in Montgomery County who will sit there and they'll sit across the table from me and they'll sit there and tell me, well, you know, I really don't think that we should really focus on Chromebooks. We should really focus on setting up hotspots for kids, right? Because the assumption is that a lot of families have computers at home, right? That's something that I can work with. If you believe that the issue is we need to upgrade our infrastructure to get better internet in Montgomery County, then let's work towards that. And I've sat in rooms with countless people where even if you didn't start at the same point I did, it didn't suddenly mean that we couldn't get something done. And so we are 24 days away from a presidential election, right? And we are staring down the barrel of fascism in the United States, right? And even though this may not be the ideal person that you are casting your vote for, right? Understand that there are levers that we can pull, not just in this election, but in subsequent elections. So that way, the next traumatic event that we have, because it's going to come, we are better equipped to harness this power together and work with people that look differently from us, that sound differently from us, and that may have come from different upbringings than us. And it's much easier for that. You guys are warriors. As you do this work, understand that it is okay to not be okay. I am a clinical therapist by trade, and I know good and well when I am not okay. And I caution you that you cannot pour from your cup if your cup is empty. It is unrealistic for me to expect you to continue to do this work if you have nothing left to give. So it is okay, and understand the word no is a love language. It is okay to tell people when they come to you and say, hey, can you help me with this? No, because you can't do for you if you have nothing left for yourself. That is the end of my spiel. But I will leave you with this. There are so many ways to get involved. There are so many ways for you to channel everything that you have inside of you going on. We've all lost loved ones. I lost my grandfather during this pandemic, and I did not get to say goodbye to him, right? And I think that it's very easy to put your head down and say, you know what, I can't go another day. But then you realize that there's people from communities that have been struggling with this for such a long time. And it is okay to tell yourself, I'm not going to do this today. I'll get to it tomorrow and we will push through. So thank you so much for allowing me to kick it with you guys during this time. You guys are awesome. You guys are warriors. Remember that. If ever you feel down, say it to yourself. We are warriors. This is not easy, but we will win. We will win. Thank you.